Okay, guys, thank you so much for being on the team call. I know that this has been an adjustment, the month of September, getting back. Let me turn on the light real quick. Getting back into school. Okay, much better. Getting back into school. I know some of us, just the routine of things. Some of us are, changing our jobs, getting back into work full time, or just shifting positions. So I totally get the hustle and the bustle. And I know that we've changed things up with morning calls and then evening calls. Just so you know, starting in October, we are going back to...
I have to run my computer down the computer doctor before she leaves for lunch. So I'll be back as soon as I just have to drop it off down at Norris.
Kiana, you're muted, girl.
Okay, let's restart. Okay, thank you. So I appreciate you being on the call. It was on the calendar last minute. So we still are going to throw in every once in a while morning calls, just because I think that it allows, some of the stay-at-home moms or the people that stay at home with this, working this business, or just in general, to hop on the call at different times. And I really think the live vibe is pretty cool. But we're also going to go back to every other Monday night team calls. And then the opposite Mondays are going to be either a webinar or a training or a live video that I will post in the team page, so that we can kind of get the full, we can still get something each week, but not necessarily be on a live call. I get it, you're busy, and I understand that, but I think it's important that we at least show up for each other during the live calls, doing the best that you can. And I know a lot of you are hosting your own team calls, so I get that. But I'm excited to get back into the swing of things. Okay, so I think that is it for the announcements, except that it's the 19th, and we have literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, less than 10 days left in the month. So I believe I was at Success Club 8 or something, or 6. Got some points taken away. So I got some hustle I need to do. So I'm going to be doing some little push things in the team page to make sure you're paying attention to that. As you all know, we have those 4-tier groups. We have the team page, which I'm going to be doing little, like I said, little push things in there. We have the tier 2 group, which is the push to Emerald, and just kind of looking at the pin post and focusing on the 4 vital behaviors. And then we have the Rise to Diamond group, which started this week, which I am so stoked for. Being a mentality and just showing up with 4 other elite coaches that I'm doing. And then we have the Unstuck group. So make sure you can be in more than one. It's totally fine. Just know it's not about, one of the things I really want to focus on is not about complaining and being negative, which I think our team does a pretty good job, but sometimes we can get into that mode, and then that attracts more negativity. So just make sure you're focusing on being positive and showing up in those groups. Okay, I'm going to get going here. Joan and I don't even remember where we met, except that maybe
in the tunnel.
Oh, in the tunnel at Summit.
Tunnel.
I was a hot mess, dripping sweat, and she was like, I don't know. We were like, we should exchange calls, girl. This is why it's so funny. We're standing in the tunnel at Summit, waiting for 45 minutes, forever and a day, to get recognized. And boom, we were like, we should exchange calls. And then we reached out to each other, and it was really cool. So let me properly introduce her. Joan is a 10-star diamond. You guys, in less than 3 years. That is crazy incredible, okay? And I know that some of you that are just started, you may not know what that means, or some of you that's been around for a while, you know what that means. It means she is just producing leaders, which is pretty amazing. She's a 2-time elite coach. She's a Success Club 10 legend. She's been in Success Club 34 months, which is pretty much every month since she started. That's like me. I was like, wait, that's every month since she started. And she's a firecracker, and she just gets it done. So I wanted to come onto the call. She suggested doing a question and answer type of thing, which I think is really cool because it can get some of our questions answered. That was posted in the team page, some questions that I have. But I just want you to understand that it's a very big honor to have Joan on the call. She could be doing anything that she wants to do right now, but she's spending time with you. And I really appreciate you guys being here. So make sure that we're sharing the call and we're tagging our coaches in the call, or even success partners that you think will really get something out of this. So what I want you to think about is when Joan's talking and maybe she's answering a question that I'm asking her in the beginning, or sharing her story or something resonates with you, why don't you write something down, a question or something, so that we can make sure that since you're showing up today and you're on here, that we can get your questions answered, okay? So, Joan, thank you so much for being here. I'm really happy that you're here. Her and I just finished our workout, can you tell? And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to get started, and we'll just go from there. And then I have some questions I would love to answer. I mean, not answer, ask.
Yeah, cool. So I'm actually happy to be here. I think it's fun to break up my day and have like a little, time with other people instead of just working my business constantly. So thanks for having me. My story is a little bit different than others, I think. I was actually a huge hater of multi-level marketing. I was super duper skeptical about this business. My husband actually signed up to be a coach before I did. And I told him I would never do this. And so, starting back as to why I had, such a skeptical outlook upon, multi-level marketing. When Ryan and I first started dating, so we've been together for 12 years. And when we first started dating, he wanted to do a different multi-level marketing company. And at the time, we had just started dating, and I was like, okay, fine, let's do this, even though I really didn't want to. And it was really just totally not for me. It was super duper salesy. It was not anything I was passionate about. We were hustling all the time. I felt like, everybody that we knew was worried we were going to bring up this business with them. I was feeling like we were like losing friends, like people didn't want to be around us, and spending a lot of time and money and effort doing something that I didn't really like. And so I think our biggest paycheck that entire time was $13. And I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Like I cannot do it anymore. This is not working for me. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want anything to do with it. And so we quit, and I'd said at that moment, it's not that I don't think that multi-level marketing could work. I think it could. I just don't think it's for me. And so I let that be, and we moved on. And I basically said I would never do multi-level marketing ever again. And, fast forward to, this was back in, like 2004. So fast forward up to like 2009. And I went through one of the roughest periods of my life. My dad committed suicide. My grandmother went into ICU. And I was laid off from my job all in the matter of like a month. And so I've always been sort of an emotional eater, and I started eating, and I started, I was just very depressed, and I had gained a lot of weight. And I remember, ordering TurboFire actually off of an infomercial and starting to do that, and never really sticking to it, not getting results because I wasn't sticking to it. And I liked it, but I would start it and then I would stop, and I would start and stop, and I wasn't following the nutrition plan. And so I was frustrated, and I wasn't really getting much out of it. But one thing I did start doing at that time was I started following Janelle Summers. And on social media, because I was just like, I saw her in the videos, and I was like, this girl has an incredible body. She has amazing legs. Like, I did not know she was Shalene's sister. I knew nothing like that. I didn't know anything about coaching or anything like that. I just started following her because to me, she stood out in the video, and I was like, I, want to follow this woman and see what she is doing. And so also at the time that I ordered TurboFire, Ryan got P90X because we were both like, okay, we're both going to start doing workouts at home. This is a good idea. And he got P90X. And I didn't realize this, but Ryan joined a Facebook group at that time of people who were doing P90X. And so I'm sitting over here, not sticking to my workouts, not like doing TurboFire to a T, because like I really wasn't holding myself accountable. And meanwhile, he's in like these groups that I didn't even know about. And so he's getting amazing results. And he asks me to marry him in the fall of 2010, and we got married 6 months later. And so with like fire under my ass, I kind of just started going for it, right? Like with turbo fire. And I still wasn't doing it to a T, but I lost about 15 pounds before our wedding. So I looked a little bit better, but I still wasn't where I was at. And when we got home, I still was depressed. I still was upset. I still hadn't found a job that I liked. I still was like out of work. You know, all of these things were still going on. That didn't change my my circumstances or my situation. And the one was like motivation to get fit, but then when that was all over, like life returned to the way it was. And I did end up getting a job and liking what I was doing. Yes, somebody on here isn't muted. There you go. And so, I started doing that and that was great, but like I hadn't changed anything else about my mental state. And one day I went and I stepped on the scale and I looked and I was almost 200 pounds and I'm 5'7". So 200 pounds, not really where I'm supposed to be at. And I had noticed that a friend of mine was doing Insanity on Facebook, and I messaged them and I said, is that something that I can do? And they said, you can totally do it. They were like, take a break if you need to, but get right back in. If you follow it to a T, you'll get the best results of your life. And I was like, okay. So I started kind of thinking about it at that point. Meanwhile, Ryan gets laid off from his job, right? Like when it rains, it pours. So he, so he's at home looking for jobs. I'm at work, like, doing my job. I was in social media and SEO before. That's what I did for a living. And I noticed because I told you I started following Janelle, I noticed on her page one day that she said one of her coaches went emerald. And I was like, what the heck is that? So I messaged Ryan and immediately said, what is she talking about? Is she doing some sort of multi-level marketing business or something? And Ryan realized what she was talking about. And she was obviously talking about coaching. He was like, I think there might be something behind Beachbody. So he actually reached out to Chris Reed, who is our upline coach. And Chris was a dude that was just in that P90X group that he was doing on Facebook that he never told me about. And so he actually signed up with Chris and started coaching. Yeah, I love Chris too. He's like my, honestly, I didn't pick out our coach, but like had I, I could not have probably picked a better match for myself. So it's good that Ryan did that. So anyway, Ryan started coaching. I'm telling him there's no way in hell I'll ever do it, but I'll sit back and I will give you the support that you need. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on the couch at night, like being crabby because he's not sitting there watching TV with me. And instead he's in the other room on a computer with Chris Reed talking to him about stuff. And I'm like, so annoyed. Like we're supposed to be spending time together, like, watching TV. You're supposed to be spending time together. But the real reason I told him I wouldn't do it is because first I had that bad taste in my mouth about multi-level marketing. Second, I was completely overweight and depressed. So who the heck would want me as their coach? 3, like fitness was never really my jam. And like 4, I was just completely freaking fearful about what other people would think. I didn't think anybody would want me to be their coach. I didn't want to come off salesy. I didn't want to get involved in another multi-level marketing company. I just didn't want to do any of it. So when Chris turns around after Ryan signed his first coach and told him to sign me next as his oh my God, hi puppy, as his, second coach so that he could go emerald. Like that's the best thing you need to sign your spouse next. That's what you need to do. So Ryan knew he was going to have a hard time selling me on that. And so he was like, Chris said the next step is to sign you. And I was like, oh no, hell no, I'm not doing it. And he was like, well, didn't you mention that you kind of talked to a friend and that you wanted to try Insanity? Like we can just get you Insanity. You don't have to do anything. I'll do it. We're just going to sign you up this way. You don't have to do anything. And I was like, fine. And I remember sitting there that day and like him walking me through the website, showing me how to sign up as a coach, picking out my challenge pack, doing all of that stuff. This was July of 2013, you guys. And I slammed the laptop shut when I was done. And I was like, are you happy? And I walked off. And I was totally, totally pissed off and upset about it. But my program came in the mail and I started it in August and I did it every single day to a T. I actually did not follow the nutrition plan to a T. I literally just did the workouts every single day. I drank my shake every single day and I lost 30 pounds and 27 inches in 60 days. But more importantly, this changed. I all of a sudden understood. Like, I understood what this was all about. Like, I just felt like insanity pushed me so hard that it wasn't just a physical transformation. It was like a mental transformation. I would cry in the middle of my workouts. I'm such a firm believer that because like I was an emotional eater, you know what I mean? That like each pound that I was losing was definitely attached to like an emotional problem or crap that I had going on. And so I was just shedding all of that baggage. I also started reading, and it's, you know, it's interesting how like, I feel like when you start working on yourself, the universe kind of has your back, right? Like starts bringing other things into your life. And I don't know whether you guys believe in God or the universe or whatever. So if I say anything that's like hippy dippy or you don't relate to, I'm sorry, but this is just my jam. So I actually was sitting at a campfire with a group of like 30 friends, and they all went off. We were camping for the weekend on an island, and they all went off to play kickball. And I was like, no, I'm just going to chill here by the fire. Meanwhile, this guy, Jordan, who I'd never met until that day, was like, I'll chill with you. And the two of us started chatting. And I started telling him about my dad, and he started telling me about how he had just witnessed somebody committing suicide in New York City. They jumped out a building in front of him. And so we're bonding over this. We're talking about this. We're talking about the emotional stuff that we had gone through. And then we start talking about other things. And I start telling him about how I'm doing insanity and how I'm losing this weight and how I'm feeling good. And it's just kind of crazy because I didn't realize that the person that I was standing next to is actually like a self-help person. He is, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. It's Jordan Bach. He has spread his wings now and I think is more for like the general public. But in the beginning, he focused towards gay men. So like I never would have found him, you know, like he was focusing on helping gay men find spirituality. And so we became friends on social media and we started following each other. And I noticed one day that he had an interview with Gabrielle Bernstein. And if you guys don't know who she is, go look her up, go get her books, life changing. So I started reading that at the same time. So I was going through this physical change, this mental change, and then this spiritual change all at the same time. And it all just kind of came together. And people noticed. People started coming to me and being like, oh my God, what are you doing? You have so much energy. You seem so confident. You seem so happy. Oh my God, you've lost all this weight. What are you doing? And that was the aha moment for me where I looked over at Ryan and I said, I get it. I get it. If I can help one person feel this good, it is 100% worth me being uncomfortable in doing so. And so we got on the phone with Chris Reed, and by the end of it, I said, I'll do whatever you tell me to, and I did. And 6 months later, so 6 months in from that decision of, yes, I'm going to go for this, I had replaced my income, gone 5-star diamond, and quit my job. 6 months. And the name, Kiana, was Gabrielle Bernstein. She's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. She has a book called Spirit Junkie, which is like kind of like a great one to start with, and it gives you her background. Then there's Add More Ink to Your Life, which is like kind of like a little bit of a guide. And then there's also her Miracle Morning, or not the Miracle Morning, that's a different book. May Cause Miracles, which is a 40-day guidebook that she does. But honestly, I mean, she's amazing. She completely changed my life. My whole team is going down to see her in Massachusetts on November 12th because she's going to be doing a lecture there. She's got a new book coming out called The Universe Has Your Back. So that is sort of my story. And so I went from like hater to like full-time coach, and this is all I do. You know, Ryan's a 1-star diamond and I'm a 10-star diamond. So it is kind of just like a funny little story.
I love that story, which is so different. What the cool thing about this business that I like is it's just so everyone can be so different. Like, in my particular situation, like my husband, I will never retire my husband. He doesn't want to retire. He's a computer engineer. He's like, I think like in my mind, it was my goal. Like I got to retire him. That's what successful coaches do. And then like we had a conversation. He's like, you're not retiring me. I don't want to be retired. I want to do what I want to do. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I got to redefine my success. And I think that's what's really cool about this business was that we can redefine what success means to us. And whether it's you're going to retire your husband or not, like to me, you got to figure out what fulfills you and what makes you happy and what success means to you. And that's what's really cool is that success looks in so many different ways. It's a piece of a pie. Everyone has their own some people might think success might be becoming a master trainer or, doing all these different things. So I think it's really cool to be able to do that. Okay, so we have some questions for you.
Okay.
So how did you grow your business so quickly? Because people are going to look at you and go, well, she has it all together because she's a 10-star. And we all know that it's bumpy roads. Okay. But how did you grow your business so quickly? And let me see if anything else goes. What struggle in the beginning, did you have to overcome to be where you are now? Because we know that you're probably still struggling, as we all do, but what were the main struggles in the beginning that you worked on, and how did you grow your business so quickly?
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing to note, you guys. Just because you're 10-star diamond does not mean you've got your excuses shit together. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean it at all. I just literally looked in my room and I was like, I should totally put this up as a post. It looks like a bomb went off in there. I have this same basket of clothes that I packed to go up to the lake 3 weekends ago for a wedding, still sitting on the floor, and now it's just stuff added on and overflowing everywhere because I haven't touched it. I have, had diamonds quit. I have had star diamonds quit. I have had more people than I can count that I've gotten started and got to emerald and dropped off. And I think that is probably one of the biggest struggles that any coach goes through, is sort of feeling like they want it more for other people than those people actually want it for themselves. And having, coaches that say they want it, but then aren't actually willing to put in the work or doing the things that they need to do to actually make this work for themselves. So that's one of the biggest struggles that I think I go through now. In the very beginning, I think one of the biggest struggles was just fear of talking to people, fear of, putting myself out there, fear of putting up a before and after picture, fear of coming off salesy. So in the beginning, that was probably my biggest struggle, was fear. I remember actually fighting with Chris Reed over putting my before and after picture up, because I told him he was just being a jerk and just wanted to make money off of me. Literally, this is what I said. and my husband too, I was fighting with him over it, but it was just because they were pushing me out of my comfort zone. And as soon as I put it up, and all I got on it was love. I had over 200 people or something like that message me and post and comment, saying oh my God, you look amazing, you've done a good job. But it doesn't matter. It was still fearful to put that up in the first place. So fear was probably one of the biggest things. And the thing that got me over that was actually, I just mentioned to you guys, Gabby Bernstein. I actually messaged her and I said, what do you do when you have something that is incredible? It can change somebody's life. It can. You 100% believe in it because it's changed your own. But you're too afraid to go out there and talk to people or post about it or, whatever, because you don't want to come off salesy and you're worried about what other people will think and all of that stuff. And she said, be unapologetic about the service behind this business. So I will say that again, be unapologetic about the service behind this business. You guys, what you have to offer someone is far beyond, you can change their life. And the best thing that you can offer to anybody is the coaching opportunity, not just the fitness thing, because that's really what's going to change their life and create lasting change. And so every single time before I sat down to start reaching out to people, I would remind myself of that. I would sit there and I would just say, you know what? I'm going to help somebody today. I'm going to help somebody feel better about themselves. I'm going to help somebody lose weight. I'm going to help somebody get out of debt. I'm going to help somebody be able to spend more time with their family. I'm going to be able to help somebody leave a job that they hate. I'm going to help somebody make their finances better. I'm going to help somebody feel better like I do, build their confidence, not worry about a muffin top putting on their clothes in the morning, whatever it might be. So I just sat there repeating all of that stuff to myself before I started my conversations. And I actually told myself that every night before I went to bed too. I was going to be a 5-star diamond elite coach in my first year. And my desire was for the greater good, because I was going to help people make their lives better too. That's what I told myself every single day. And making that happen, building that belief in my own head, was what got me past that struggle and into helping other people, right? Because, you can't let your fear hold you back from helping somebody else. That's why you got in this business in the first place. If you're not talking to anybody, if you're not sharing, if you're not putting it up on social, you can't reach anybody. And so I love that saying, don't hold someone else's future captive in your own mouth. It's exactly what it is. If Ryan hadn't have said something to me, if Ryan hadn't have pushed me a little bit, I don't even want to know where I would be today. Like I would still be working. I'd still be overweight. I'd still feel like crap every single day. I would still feel like I was in the rat race of Groundhog Day, hadn't felt my, found my passion or my purpose on this planet, and kind of feeling like life sucked. But because he went out and did something and he said something, that changed my life for the better. And I would never be mad at anybody for telling me about it. Right? So nobody's ever going to be mad at you for telling them about it. I can tell you with 100% honesty, my coaches right now, not one single one of them is mad at me for offering this opportunity to them. So just keep that in mind. The people that you need to help, you'll be led to, and they're going to be happy that you did. Okay. So that was my struggle. So number 2, what did I do to be successful so quickly? I worked my butt off. You guys, I sacrificed TV time. I sacrificed happy hours. I sacrificed sleep. I worked my butt off, and I made it a non-negotiable for myself that if I had the busiest day on the planet and I had time for nothing else, that before I went to bed, I would at least start 5 conversations. If they didn't answer me right then, that was fine. The next day I was going to wake up and I'd probably have some responses back that I could follow up with, right? So every single day without fail, I started 5 conversations, but that was on my super busy days. Like say I went to work all day and then I had like a networking function for work or a speaking gig that I had to do for work or something like that. And I didn't get home till late, and then I had to do my workout and eat dinner and yada, yada, yada. And it was late and I was exhausted. That's what I would do. But for the most part, I reached out to as many people as I possibly could every single day. I also reached out to every single person who liked every single post that I put up every single day, whether that post be about my coffee, my dog, me doing a handstand, me being silly at work, did not matter. I started conversations with those people who liked those posts.
So Joan, what would those conversations look like? Can you tell me? Like was it simple? Was it simple? Did you go right? Because there's one thing that I noticed is there's people that like definitely breadcrumb and like get to know them and add value, and then people take that to heart, and then they have these conversations for 6 months, which I think is totally fine, and you're adding value. But then there's the other person that I know that go right into it. Like this is what I was talking to a girl the other day that said, like, she's like, hey girl, thanks for liking my post. Like I'm a health and fitness, wellness, whatever you want to say. Like I love working with women. And then they say like, how many kids do you have? So like they just point blank say right in the beginning, I run online challenge groups. Nothing's secret. And so they don't feel like they have an agenda. But then there's the opposite perspective of, do you add value before do you know what I mean?
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will tell you that if somebody likes a post that I have about like my before and after, or a fitness group I have coming up, or a workout post that I've done, then yeah, I will jump right in. Like I'll just be like, hey, thanks for the love on my post. Like, oh, that workout kicked my butt today. You have any health and fitness goals of your own? That's what I do. I don't go out and say like, I'm a Beachbody coach, blah, 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 blah. That's how I start those conversations. But for the most part, when I say start conversations, I kind of mean like your hey girls. Have you guys heard of those? Like just start like 5 hey girls a day. And I literally will like be like, hey girl, like you popped up in my newsfeed today and I saw that cute little picture of your dog and how are you doing? Or something like that. Or like if you have like a list of new people that you want to reach out to, that you have friends on Facebook that you haven't talked to before, then you just go and you their news, see something they've done recently. Did they run in a race? Did they go out to dinner on a date night with their hubby? Did they do a do-it-yourself project? Did they, I don't know, purchase new shoes and put them up? Whatever it might be, and go and say something about it in a private message. Be like, hey, I loved your, new shoes that you got. Those are awesome. Where did you get them? Or, you see them at like a wedding and you're like, I loved that dress that you wore to that wedding. Where did you get it? Or, something that's just natural and normal to talk about, right? And from there, what I do is I keep the conversation going. I just keep asking questions until they start asking me questions, right? And so if you're asking them questions and you're saying, how are you doing? Oh, did you work today? Did you get some time in the sun? Blah, 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 blah. And you're asking all these stuff. And they start asking you questions back. It's kind of your way to, you always want to be leading the conversation so that they start asking you questions that you can answer with something that's going to make them ask you about what you do, right? Like, for instance, somebody is like, oh, how's your fall going? I answer with, It's awesome. You know, I'm in Maine, guys. So summer is like everything to us. Like we only get a few months of sun. So, you know, so I'll be like, oh my God, I loved it. It was so busy. We had so many things going on, but I'm looking forward to fall because I can start really getting back into a routine of like working out and things like that, you know, like just starting a new group, like, so super pumped about that. And they'll be like, wait, what group? You know? And so like, you kind of are just, it's called an information gap. You don't want to like go out there and be like, hey, I'm a Beachbody coach. Have you ever considered joining one of my challenge groups? That doesn't work. You know, I get messages from people all the time that are doing like Mary Kay, and I've never spoken to them in my entire life. And they're like, hey, can you do me a favor? I have to do like 5, you know, whatever they're called, makeovers by yada, yada, yada in order to reach a goal. Like, I'd love to. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know you. We've never even spoken to each other. Like, you're asking me to do you a favor? So yeah, I take more of the, like, the breadcrumbing, sort of leading the conversation approach, unless it's a post that specifically invited somebody to do something.
Okay, that really helps. I love that. I've never heard that it led as an information gap. Like,
yeah,
basically what you're saying is, which is what I think this is pretty easy, simple, is if it's something that you were posting about fitness and health, it's easy to jump right into it. If it's not, I love how you said, you just popped into my newsfeed today. Like, how are you doing? Or how was that? And then I loved your dress you're wearing, or something that relates to them. And then just keep asking questions, which leads into, like you said, an information gap, which makes them wanting more. Like, how are you? Oh, I'm doing really good. I'm just getting ready to set up my new challenge group or my new group, and I'm really excited, or something like that. And then give them another question, which I think will really keep a conversation going. I think that's easy for a new coach. So I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what do you do on a daily basis to build your business? Like, in the very beginning, like, if I were to ask you your non-negotiables, like you said, your non-negotiable was start 5 conversations. Okay, mm-hmm. We know that. But let's just get into the nitty and gritty. So I want you to talk a little bit about, what do you do on a daily basis right now? She's saying hi, sorry. Non-negotiable. Like, has anything changed from being like a new coach to 10-star, obviously? Or is it the same business activities? And then, like, what's one thing you wished you would have done differently then versus now? And then anything that you think like that, it's just like, this is what I do every single day. Because I know for me, like, I don't invite like 3 people a day, but I might, like on Wednesday, I have a babysitter from 9 to noon, and I might invite 45 people. Does that make sense? Like, I'm doing a lot of my invites. So do you group things, or is it more like just non-negotiable every single day? You're just doing your power hour non-negotiable list. And then what would you have done different? Have you done anything differently? Like, were you doing things differently in the beginning versus now? And I know you worked full-time, right? Because you worked full-time when you first started this, so you had to have changed certain things. And I think that that's really valuable to my team, because a lot of people work full-time or part-time. And that's where I struggle helping them, because I didn't work ever full-time when I first started this. Of course, I'm a mom, and I feel like that's my full-time job. But I never had to leave the house and go somewhere from 9 to 5. Do you know what I mean? So any type of information that you could add value there, I think would be awesome.
I think being a mom is super ridiculously hard. I don't have any kiddos. I just have a black lab named George that I'm obsessed with. But I have 7 nieces and nephews, all under the age of 6 years old. So I've done the babysitting thing where I'm like working my business during the day while they're like around. And it is a nut show. It's nuts. Crazy. It's like constant ADHD distraction all day long. So I get that. So how did I do it? And how did things change? So when I first started coaching, obviously I was working 50 hours a week, and I told you I was working for a social media SEO marketing firm. And so I would wake up in the morning and immediately check my phone. I would immediately respond to any of the people that I had messaged the night before, so that, I wasn't leaving them hanging. And then I would make my Shakeology, I'd get ready, and I'd listen to my personal development and drink my Shakeology in the car on my way to work. Bam, took care of 2 things that I needed to do that day that were in my vital behaviors. Then, instead of taking lunch and going off with my coworkers or going and sitting in the conference room and eating with them like I used to, I would sit at my desk. And for a full hour, I would sit there and I would reach out to people and start new conversations, and I would post to social media. And then I would get out of work and I would come home and I would immediately do my workout. Ryan and I typically did our workouts together. That was like our quality time together, was our workouts and dinner. So that was the time that we spent together. And we set a date night each week too. It was Thursday nights. Couldn't be Wednesday nights because Wednesday nights are cray. So it had to be Thursday nights. And it was great, you know, because we'd get out of the house. We would talk about our week. We would talk about, you know, our business. We would talk about all of those things. But take a minute for ourselves. So those were our times together. And I think that a lot of the times in the beginning, like people are like, you know, my spouse is getting mad at me because I'm spending too much time doing this, or my spouse is getting mad because I'm always on my phone, or, you know, whatever it might be. And so I think it's important that you spend quality time over quantity time. Like, you know, if there was a while there where Ryan sort of stopped building his business for a bit. And so I'm not going to lie to you. Like if he was just sitting on the couch watching TV, I was not just sitting on the couch watching TV. My laptop was in my lap and I was working. You know, TV might be on, but I was sitting there working my business, not really paying attention. So, so I'd get home, we'd do our workout, we'd do our dinner, and then I would go grab my laptop and I would work the rest of the night. And when I say I worked the rest of the night, I mean I worked till about midnight every single night, sometimes 1 a.m. I sacrificed sleep. It was worth it. It was 100% worth it. And I did the same thing every single day. Saturdays, I would wake up and I would work my business for a few hours, like 3 hours. But honestly, you guys, Saturday mornings are freaking awesome for your business. They're awesome. You have to do it early though. You know, you can't do it later because then people are off and about and doing things with their family. But if you get up early in the morning and you do your workout and then you go post about it and you talk about a challenge group that's coming up and you start reaching out to people, they're going to be around and they're going to answer you and you're going to sign coaches, period. It's going to happen. Saturday mornings are awesome. Do not skip them. And then still to this day, I will tell you, I do Saturday mornings. I don't have to. I could probably go without, but I do it because I tell my coaches to, and I practice what I preach. Sundays, I don't touch my business. If somebody needs me, like if it's an emergency and somebody is messaging me and they need my help, then great, like I'll help them. But I don't really typically touch my business other than putting up a post Sunday night. And typically my posts Sunday night have something to do about what I hated on Sunday nights when I had to go to a real job, like setting an alarm the next day or being sad that my weekend was over. And how that your dog is so freaking cute. I would show you George, but Ryan just came home and took him. You're so cute. So that was my schedule while I worked a full-time job. And now, you know, one of the biggest things that changed, you guys, you think that you're going to get more done when you have to do this business full-time, but you don't. You end up wasting time. You end up wasting hours because you're like, I've got so much time to do this. And then you realize like I was getting a lot more done when I had a lot less time to do this. So make sure that you set a schedule for yourself and you set productive time for yourself, because this business is really easy to work 24/7 and get nothing done. And it's also really easy to just put a few hours in a day and crank at it. So you got to make sure that you're doing the right things at the right times. So that was one of my biggest things that changed. And so I had to realize that I had to make a schedule for myself when I started working this business full-time from home. So I make sure that an hour each day, I start new conversations for an hour. That's my biggest thing that I want to do, the biggest thing that means the most to my business. When I wasn't doing that, things slowed down. The other thing that I used to do every single night, I already told you guys, I said that little thing to myself, like my desires to be a 5-star diamond and my desires for the greater good because blah, 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 blah. Like I said that every single night. I did a meditation every single night before I went to bed, visualizing that happening. I did that every single day. That's something I stopped in my second year. So my first year, right, I ended my first year as a coach as a 6-star elite coach. My second year in the business, I ended as an 8-star elite coach. So my first year when I was working full-time, I ended having popped 6 diamonds in my business. And my second year working full-time from home, I only did 2. And the biggest thing that changed was that I wasn't doing my meditations. I wasn't doing as much PD. I wasn't, setting that goal for myself and repeating it for myself. And I had stopped reaching out to as many people because, as you build that momentum in your business, some people start coming to you and it gets a little bit easier. And when you start conversations with people, because you're branding yourself, most of the time they know what you do already. So they'll be like, oh my God, I've been meaning to talk to you. I've seen that workout. So I was resting on my laurels. So that's one thing, is don't change that. Don't change the things that in the beginning were that got you to where you are. So,
and Joan, when you say starting, sorry, my daughter's like kind of getting irritated. When you when you set that 1 hour of McConaughey, do you need to go to your room? Wow. Yes, she does. She needs to take a time. When you set that 1 hour of just reach out or conversations, wow. Is it the hey girl conversations?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You had a question over here in the chat. It says, how do you keep the business feeling fresh and fun? I'm totally okay with the no's because they're proof I'm trying, but finding new ways to stay engaged in the business and keeping it fresh to balance it out feels challenging right now. Do the thing that you like the least first thing in the morning. Do the things that you just don't love first thing, right? And save the things that you really like for later on. So for me, still to this day, starting those conversations sucks. It does. Honestly, it's not like it ever gets better. I mean, it's like, that's just a part of the business that you have to do. And it's the part that's going to grow your business the most. Once I get a good conversation going, love it, right? Love it. But that process of like starting it sucks. So for me, that's the first thing I do every single day. When I'm done, I reward myself with a workout and personal development because I love doing my meditation. I love reading my personal development. I love doing it over coffee. It just feels really good. Feels like an awesome way to start my day. And after my workout's done and I'm sweating, I just feel good. So I reward myself with that, right? And then I know some people love them and some people hate them. I am not a person who loves challenge groups. I hate running challenge groups. I'm just going to throw it out there. I hate it. I hate running challenge groups. I love training people. I love helping coaches be successful. I love putting together training groups for my coaches, but the challenge groups just aren't my jam. I can show up and I can be like, hey, I did my workout and here's my Shakeology every single day. I don't mind doing that. But the whole like getting in there and having to be like, comment, put the post up for the day, not my thing. So I will do that first. And then I go to what makes me happy, which is like, oh, let's put up a training video on my team page, or let's create like a cool little graphic to throw up, or like, let's, you know what I mean? Like, so mix it in. The things that you hate, do them first. Reward yourself with the things that you like to do afterwards. And always remember to kind of schedule in something else that brings you joy too. Amy Silverman's a huge believer in this as well. I know she talked about it at Leadership last year. But like, honestly, if all you do is work this business all day, every single day, who wants to do that, right? Like, who are you going to attract with that? Everybody's going to be like, great, so I leave my job and I get to do that like all day, every day, and all night, every night. Like, that sounds like fun. So for me, I try to get up earlier and have all my crap done by noon. So by noon, I can do things like this. I can jump on a call and help somebody else. I can jump on a call with one of my coaches and help them out, or just respond like via phone while I'm off bringing my dog to the beach or going and doing something fun. And then I can post about that. So schedule time for yourself too, to go do something fun for you. If it's not going and doing something fun, maybe it's just that you like to craft somehow, or you like to garden, or you like to, whatever it might be. And schedule that time for yourself too, because it's also going to give you that creative moment in that time to be like, oh, now I can post about this and I can attract other people who like this. I'm not just the workout girl. I also like these things.
I love that, Joan. Sorry, I'm kind of.
Go ahead.
I love that because I think so many times we think that everything should be exciting and fun. And I love that you admit that you don't like running challenge groups, because there's some things part of this business that, like, I was just thinking, I'm sick and tired of running the same type of challenge group, and I want to like mix it up. So I'm really excited to put the fun back into fitness, and just for me, because for me it's like I can put a workout in and that's my jam. Like I don't like except country heat. I had to like really put myself out there to do country heat.
I didn't think I'd like country.
I don't do country, but day 30. Today was day 30. And I was like really proud of myself that I finished. I didn't miss a workout, and I actually was sweating. And anyhow, I think I got a lot better, and I learned a lot about myself, that I can do things that I don't think that I necessarily should do. And I wanted to show my team that I'm not just this burpee insanity loving chick, because that's normally who I am. But I really like how you said, do the things that you don't want to do first. So for me, I find that it's like,
And then reward yourself.
for me, it's just starting the invites. Like once I get going, I can just roll with it and be like, okay, this is good. But more like the Hey Girls, because I just need to do more Hey Girls. And it's like, why don't I do that more? So the question I have for you is, I'm going to put you on the spot. How many did you do invites this morning? Have you already done it?
Yep.
How many did you do?
30.
30 invites, you guys. Did you hear that? And was it just...
Oh, and to answer your question before, too, you said, do you, like, put it in chunks? I don't. I make sure I do it every single day, even if it's just 5 a day, because I know better than that. I know myself, and I know that I'll be like, tomorrow,
Yeah.
and tomorrow turns into never, guys. And then and inaction breeds fear. So if you're not doing this every single day, if you're not putting yourself in it every single day, even if you don't feel fearful right now, it's going to make you fearful to jump back into the process. It's going to mess with your head and make you think that you don't know what you're doing, that you can't do this, that you don't know what you're doing. But if you're in the trenches every single day, it doesn't.
And is this, I'm going to ask you a little bit more about this, because I think that the invites lead to, and then I'll ask you one more question and I'll let you go, if you don't mind, unless the people on the call want to ask. But so this hour long that you do, is it all Hey Girls, or is it like follow-ups and all of the above? Like, is it follow-ups, Hey Girls? Is it like continuing conversations, or is it brand new spanking conversations that you've gone to people that have liked your posts? You're looking at your friends list or whatever your lists are. You're looking at some, because I have, let me give you an example. Some of my newer coaches only get 10 likes, and it's the same people that have the same 10 likes. So what do you suggest for people? Like, I know it's like the same question, where do you find the new people? And for me, it was going to groups and contributing and valuing, but making sure I do friend request 5 people a day, because that's how I was building my business. But for you, what do you tell your team on just like that hour for you? Is it friend request, invite, or is it solid inviting? For
that hour, recently, it's not always been like this. Recently, I changed it because I just want to get those many invites out because I have big goals. But, so recently, yes, when I set that hour for myself, it's strictly starting new conversations with new people.
Just about either the business or challenge groups, or just accommodate just whatever comes up?
Yep.
What do you say? I can't hear you. Sorry.
Just like a Hey Girl.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Okay. And where are you getting off your likes and comments, or off your new friends, or where are you getting these people? Like, where do you
go to my friends list, and I every night before I go to bed, I write down a list of people that I have not talked to yet whatsoever about this. And that's what I do. And I add 5 to 10 new people to Facebook every single day as friends. And I do start conversations with all of those people who like my posts, but that's at a different time. Cause like I said, now I work the business a little bit differently. My second power hour is more about like following up with those who liked my posts, following up with those people that I need to follow up with, that sort of thing.
It sounds like your foundation is critical, is inviting. Like, you have got to invite, and if you don't invite, you're not gonna, because I think that's what a lot of people, they post, they're drinking their Shakeology, they're doing their workouts, but they're just, would you agree that it's a numbers game?
It's 100% a numbers game.
Okay.
Even finding coaches that want to build a business is a numbers game, because you'll have a bunch of them sign up that say they want to do it, and then they don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the last question I was going to have for you is how do you have 10-star diamonds, which means you have 10 diamonds, probably more to keep your 10-star, probably more in your second business center. And then, yours is a little bit different because your hubby's not under you, you're underneath, but like, what would you say that you've done to but just attract business builders in this business? Because that's what this business is about. Is one half of it is your own business and showing up in social media and doing your thing, but the other half is creating leaders, or what I like to say is creating people that start to believe in themselves, because everyone has the capability of being a diamond. Everyone has the capability of getting there. It's the actual belief system and setting the foundation that they can do it. And that's what I truly believe, that why personal development has changed me so much. But what have you done personally to breed? I don't think that you're breeding, but I think that you're obviously attracting those type of coaches. Do you attract business builders from the very beginning, or are you building them up to business builders? Because I've had coaches that don't know, sign for a discount and then move to business builder. But some people attract very strong business builders from the beginning. So share with me what you're doing there.
I will tell you that I sign 99% of the people that I sign as coaches. Like almost every single person I sign up as a coach. And the reason is because I'm not afraid of talking about coaching. I'm not afraid of talking about it. If they liked a post of mine that was about a challenge group and they've got fitness goals and I'm signing them up, I tell them, listen, I'm going to sign you up as a coach because it's going to give you a 25% discount moving forward on your Shakeology. If you don't want it later, you can cancel it. There's no, like no cancellation fees or anything like that. You're not locked into it. But you're going to love Shakeology, so you're going to want to stay on it, number one. Number two, there's the opportunity for you to make money like I do, just by simply sharing what you're doing on Facebook. And then you can get some friends in the group with you, and it's super fun. You know, we can help you put up a post, and we can do that. And people are like, oh, okay. That's it. It's as simple as that, guys. I think people overcomplicate so much. I never separate a challenge pack. Like, I never talk to somebody about their fitness goals and then recommend a program and then be like, okay, so now we should add on Shakeology. No way. I go, great. I'm pumped that 22-minute hardcore is what you want to do. What's your email and what flavor Shakeology do you want to try in your challenge pack? I never separate the two. If from there a question happens, then it's usually what flavors do you have, which I just tell them. Or it's what is Shakeology? And then I tell them, and I'm like, come with your pack. It's how you're going to get the best results. It's done X, Y, and Z for me. You're going to love it. And they're like, okay. And
can you tell me, you said, so you sign people up as a coach. You give them, obviously, I've noticed this a lot about strong business builders. I'm just talking to my team and just repeating what you said, is their confidence in the sign-up process. And the confidence in the conversation, the difference of tone of voice, and the difference of, hey, do you think you would like to try this? Versus, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to make this happen because X, Y, and Z. But you said, number one, you're going to like it, so you're going to stay on it, and you're going to get 25% off. And then you said, number two, what was your number two thing? You might make money, or you might get.
I said, I know we haven't talked about it, but there's the opportunity.
Okay, opportunity. That's what I wanted. Okay, opportunity to make. And then you said to make money, and then you said something about helping them post.
If you want, I can help you create a post and we can put it up on social media. And if anybody likes it, we can get them in the group.
Okay. Love that.
Super simple. And you know what? By doing so, by helping them create that first post and putting it up with them and being there for them when they put that first post up and helping them with those first few conversations, they're going to get wins immediately, you guys. And then they're going to be like, oh, this is easy. And then they are ready to go. So that's how I sign people up, how I attract them in the first place, is I talk about, the second you let go of what you think people want to hear and what you think you should be posting about, and you just start talking about real life, yourself in this business and how it's done things for you, that's when you start attracting people. When you're trying to be a brand, when you're trying to, put something up that you've seen other coaches put up, or you're like, maybe people will respond to this, that doesn't work. You have to just be your authentic self and talk about yourself and just be you. Being you is what's going to attract other people. So I don't typically sugarcoat things. I'm just a very truthful, honest person. If you go to my Facebook page right now, you see I just put a post up that says, if you have time to be on Facebook, you have time to work out. I said that because honestly, how many times do I get the I don't have any time excuse from the same people who just sat there having a 30, 40 minute, hour long, 3-week, whatever conversation with me on Facebook. All of a sudden they don't have time to work out, but they've got time to be on Facebook. So, talking about those things, but in a way that you would on social media, talking about your small wins. You guys, I will tell you that when I tell somebody that I quit my job in 6 months and replaced my income and then I had a 6-figure salary within a year, they'll be like, I can't do that. But if I tell somebody, you know what, last year we were struggling to buy a Christmas tree and we fought over it, and it was like, and this isn't last year, but I'm just using this because it was a post that I put up at one point. But I just talked about the fact that Ryan and I used to argue every Christmas. We don't need a Christmas tree, he would say. But I was like, but I want one. And then he'd be like, but it's expensive. And I'd be like, well, who cares? He's like, we're not even going to be at the house during Christmas. We're going to our family's houses. And I'd be like, I don't care. I want a tree. And we'd go and we'd get a tree, and we'd have to get the crappy version and the shorter one. And then we'd bring it home, and I'd want to go eat dinner. And he'd be like, no, we can't go out. We just spent money on a tree. And it would be this big, crappy fight, right? But then last year I put a post up that was like talked about that, but talked about how the fact that we just were like, pop it on the thing. I want the 10-foot freezer for it. Put it on the back of my car. Where do you want to go to dinner? Yada, yada, yada. And went home. And how it's something so simple like that, but people relate to that. You know, they relate to like not being able to afford something or fighting over money or fighting over going out to dinner because they don't have the finances to do so. Those are tiny things, but they mean a lot to people. My first month as a coach, I made $1,300. So my first month as a coach, I talked about that on social media and how I didn't have to touch my salary to pay my rent that month, you know? So like there's little things like that every single day that you can be talking about that you might think is not a big deal. You might not think making $50 extra is a big deal, or maybe a couple $100 a month is a big deal. But to somebody else, that could mean the difference between getting their car taken away or being able to pay all of their bills in 1 month instead of having to wait and be late on one. All those little things count, so talk about it. Do not be afraid to talk about what coaching has done for you financially. If you have somebody else, a coach of yours, tell you about that, put that up there. I have times, like, I don't even worry about it. I just take a snapshot and throw it right up on Facebook. Just got this message from my coach. You know, it could be like, had my biggest paycheck yet, or paid off my student loan debt early, or thank you for reaching out to me that day. You completely changed my life. Guys, that's a big deal to us. So if somebody else sees it, it's a big deal to them. So snapshot it and put it up, because there's a few things people want to know when they're looking at your social media. Who are you? What do you do? And can I trust you? Does what you do actually work? Like, are you really making money at this? Is this really working? Are you really losing weight? Are you really feeling better? And will it work for me? So by sharing that it's doing something for other people, you're already answering that question. So that's how I attract builders. I'm not afraid to talk about it in my conversations with them when I finally go to sign them up. I'm not afraid to talk about it on social media. And I talk about it in a way that is relatable to them, because you always have to remember you're talking to you pre-Beachbody, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I love this. So one of the things I want to just verify, and I think you did, but is, you know, some of my coaches have risen really fast. And Joan, I think you're aware that making $1,300 in the first month is not the norm, but you did that. And so I think it's important that you shouted that out from the rooftop. But basically what you're saying is, and I tell my team this a lot, but it's just, we have to focus on the small wins, the emotional changes that we're feeling, any financial changes that we're getting. I mean, I think people think that, well, I only made $30, but that, like you said, could fill up half your gas tank, or that could allow you to buy for organic groceries that particular week instead of doing something different. Or maybe it was buy ballet shoes for your kids or whatever it is. And I think we forget to realize that we minimize what it means because it's not thousands of dollars. So for me, I stopped talking about, I still do for the people that care. Joan and I are both 6-figure earners, okay? But I don't always say that because it becomes a point where it's not as relatable as being able to pay for a car payment, you know what I mean? Or being able to pay certain things. So I just want you to think about, sometimes the little things matter more than these big audacious things that you think that you need to be successful. When in reality, it's the people that come to me that say, I can't believe I just paid for my $100 toward my kids' private school. Or I was able to go to Ross for the first time and not worry about money. And those are the things that really matter. And so I want you to look at the blessings that this has done in your life. For me, it's definitely the emotional changes, and just personal development has completely changed my life. And even when I go back into my slumps, which sometimes we all do, I don't sit in the slump very long, because I know that I have this weapon now instead of going into depression or staying there. And that is like something that you can't put a price tag on. Your happiness is something. So I am so happy, Joan. I took so many notes. You're going to help my team so much. You girls have anything you need to say? I'm going to unmute everyone. Would you guys like, have any questions? Mandy, Jessica, Stacy, and I'm sure 40 other people later. Jessica, that awesome. Good. Any of you guys have any questions or anything, or any points? Is that Stacy?
It's me. Sorry. Actually, it's not me.
I know. I'll mute it. I'll mute you because I still love you though. But thank you so much for being on our call, Joan. It really means a lot. My team is kind of taker-inners, and you know, it seems like you gotta create momentum to kind of go, and especially this fourth quarter is not easy. September, people using the excuses of, well, I don't have this and I have that. I think it's really about your tone of voice and how you talk to people, and really being self-assured that you have it together, because I feel like people are going to follow people and want to do things that people are confident about and passionate about. Like, I like to tell people they would probably go to you if you were selling these socks, that you love these socks and you suggested these socks for some reason. But if you're passionate about it and talking about it and creating this, like, whatever it is, they're going to buy your socks because they care, they like you, not so much at the socks. And it's the same thing with me. As long as I keep showing up and being passionate with purpose, and don't try to make it so difficult, because I think we forget that we can post about the workouts and we can do the Shakeology. I think that's the easy part. And yes, you can learn better ways to do that, but it's really the inviting that people don't do. And then underneath the inviting is sweeping under the personal development so that you can get the confidence to continue to do that. And I loved how you said, it's so honest. I love it. And I will remember this for a long time. That you are a 10-star diamond and you say it does not get any easier. It's going to be, it's still uncomfortable to do the invites, but you do it because you know it builds your business. So you guys, that's one thing I want you to take. I mean, there's lots of things I want you to take away, but like, she's a 10-star for a reason, because like she said, she did 35 invites this morning. And I love how you said you're just real. Like, I know that if I keep it to one day, it's just not going to happen. So I just got to make myself do it. And I think we think of invites as these big, scary things, and they can get uncomfortable sometimes, but it's the hey girls. It's the, I love how you broke it down. So make sure that you go back and listen to how she broke it down. Just, you know, you popped into my news feeds today. How are you? And then just asking questions that are authentic to them, and then leading them to ask you questions because you're vague, but yet giving them information. I love that. So I'm going to do that this week, and I'm going to check out Gabrielle Bernstein. Is that her name? Okay. And Joan, I will see you tonight on your call.
You will, yay!
I'm really excited to do that for you. And then if we have any other questions, I'm going to post this on YouTube. I will send you the link in case your team wants it. I know that sometimes I think that my team gets sick and tired of hearing of me, which they probably do. So it's like, why would they want the link to myself? But sometimes it's different. Okay, so thank you so much for being on the call. Do you have anything else to say, guys? Or Joan, do you have anything else that?
I don't think so. Have an awesome day, guys. Go get them.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. We loved having you on the call, and I really, you know, like I said, you could be doing anything else than spending time with me, so I can't wait to repay you tonight and pay it forward to your team. That's what I love about this community. And you guys, let's have an awesome day, okay?
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.